You're listening to the audio portion of Workshop Wednesdays. Workshop Wednesdays is a free live discussion about topics affecting accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. You can join the ABO group in Facebook to participate live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Just search for ABBO in Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you will learn, grow, and build a thriving bookkeeping practice. We have hundreds of lessons with almost every aspect of the industry. Start your free month today at Schoolofbookkeeping.com.
Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to another Workshop Wednesday brought to you by School of Bookkeeping, where it's casual conversations for serious workflows. And lo and behold, we had an awesome topic to discuss with you today, but leave it to Intuit to throw out an announcement that comes out of left field. Since we are in the throes of baseball season, we'll use lots of baseball analogies.
We just had baseball championships here at our house. It was cool.
Oh, nice. Yes, I noticed the All-Stars, was it?
The All-Stars.
That's their team name or their aspiration?
They were the Tigers all season, and then they made it to the blue team for All-Stars.
Got it. Okay. Very exciting stuff for the kiddos there. So we're on this journey of understanding the challenges with PayPal and all of those things. And we will continue with this journey even after this session, because we'll want to be talking about using PayPal in a multi-currency type of situation where that's possible. Because during this series that we've been doing, I've been digging in deeper with some of the clients that I've been working with, and peeling back the layers of the onion, and there have been some tears.
We got into the multi-currency a little bit last week,
Yeah.
but then you told me offline that you had good solution, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, because and this sent me down a rabbit hole to really see what's already out there as far as learnings and articles and those types of things. And there's a little bit of information out there when you're using PayPal in multiple currencies on expenses. So when you're buying something on that, but in this particular situation that I've really been digging into, he's one of those people that does both of expenses through PayPal and receiving money through their Shopify checkout through PayPal.
No, we love that.
And then adding this additional layer of multiple currencies on both the expenses and the sales side. And so it is quite a conundrum.
I've heard before, the biggest risk is duplication. And I was really looking forward to talking about PayTracker. And that's another thing too, is when you're using these connectors, you do have a risk of duplication. It's really important to understand the ins and the outs. But boy, we have a more exciting topics to talk about.
Yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about PayTracker, and we will probably dig in a little bit deeper into that. But we use it here personally at School of Bookkeeping, and PayTracker is an application that is created by, and I don't know how to pronounce it, and this might be the question of the day. How do you pronounce Sassant? Is it Sassant or a
I have heard some duty, and I have a really funny story about it. I say Sassant.
Yeah, SSANT.
And just FYI, if you call their number and you get their recorded information about something, they say Sassant.
Okay. If they pronounce it that way, then we'll pronounce it that way. But Sassant is a company that deals a lot with import-export automation, and they've created an application specifically for getting transactions from online sales channels into QuickBooks Online. And what's that?
Use it.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty neat. But you got to understand how it's what lane it occupies. As you had mentioned,
I thought you were going to say how it stacks up.
Oh, just like what we talked about before of like when you're using QuickBooks Online and using the Connect with PayPal application, if you've got something else that's bringing in information, you could potentially duplicate the transaction. You've got QuickBooks being the dumping ground of both of these things coming in and potentially having duplicated revenue, sales transactions, those types of things,
Yeah.
right? So
It's really harsh, though, that you're calling QuickBooks Online a dumping ground.
Yep.
Tell me how you really feel about it.
that's where things end up, right? It's like the end of the road for everything. And it's people like yourself that have to sort through that dumpster fire of transactions and like peel back the layers. And oftentimes you feel like I always explained it to people who, when they called in, it's like when a police officer comes to the scene of an accident in an intersection and they have to piece things together of, oh, how did that car end up in that tree? Let's start to peel back the layers of let's see the tire tracks and we measure this sort of thing. And that's what you end up doing, is like being this forensic accountant where you're trying to like, okay, how did this get entered this way?
Oh, I love that, though. I love looking for anyone in the whole stack.
And your clients are better off for that too.
I
Because
think
of
both
that.
of them don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well-
I don't care what's the saying? This is what my husband says. I don't care how the watch works. I just want to know what time it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And most clients and most business owners have far too many hats to wear to really get into that minutia of that. And that's what they rely on, your expertise, in order to do that. PayTracker is a really neat application when you're needing to bring some sales transactions and some of that detail. And it's one of the few ones that I've seen, especially with other payment processors or payment gateways, to really look at it in a holistic sense, where like we use it because we have a payment processor through Stripe, right? We don't do sales through Stripe. That's just the payment processor. But Stripe is, like PayPal, is one of those hybrid types of things. They have their Stripe checkout. You can have it as a shopping cart sort of thing, but then it can also be a payment gateway for something else, in which case your payment or your sales is being tracked by the shopping cart, and then the payment gateway is really just a matter of bringing
that like the way that you just said that is the trickiest concept for a lot of people to understand. Is you can invoice from Stripe, or you can just use it as the mechanism to collect the payment. And man, It's tricky.
So let me share my screen here, and apologize right before I just noticed I'm on the wrong network here. So if it is choppy or there's a latency, I apologize for that. I didn't want to switch it while we were about to go live. I would have left Rachel in the dust there, and we didn't want to see that. You get a little choked up. So I've got PayTracker up here, and this is what it looks like. Now I'm only using it for Stripe integration, but the nice part about it is I've lost myself here. Where'd it go? You are. So you can check it out here. I put a little QR code there. You want to scan that with your phone. It'll take you to PayTracker's website. You can really check that out. And also, I did put it in the, click on it. Move anything. Okay. So let's go over here. We'll throw this up here. So this is just to give you an idea of what it connects to. So all of those things of Stripe and PayPal, Clover, Authorize.net, Shopify, Braintree. Have you ever seen a
we work
Braintree?
with Braintree, definitely. It's a PayPal product. By the way, we use it for a client that is on Wix, because it's connected to Wix, and he's also dealing with, I think, PayPal and Google. So we've got a few different things going on that can cause duplication. So it actually works really great.
So these are the integrations that PayPal will connect to: PayPal, Square, Stripe, Braintree, Authorize.net, Shopify, Clover, PIN payments. Never heard of that.
Heard of that. But by the way, you just said that all these that PayPal will connect to. I thought you meant
Oh,
with that.
PayTracker. Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Too many pays in a sentence. even the Walmart marketplace can
Something I'd like to know if it's a regular Walmart or Walmart marketplace, because those two are very different.
We can click on the link there and regular Walmart.
Oh, damn, that's going to go on my tracking sheet. That is a big deal. Because a lot of these don't do regular Walmart. They will only do Walmart marketplace.
I'm trying to take a look. There's videos in here, and you can watch the videos of how that actually integrates. But looking at the back end here, this is where things come in. You can set up automation so that it automatically will post. You can set up customizations and rule so that if you want things to be coded to a specific item based on certain conditions, you can do that. Put in class tracking, those types of things, all within the application. But let's go back, and then, you've got your general settings that you can map things to. Let's go back into our previous synced or sank. The past tense of sync. Is it sank?
Yeah.
Or synced? Synced, as they say it here, synced.
Synced.
Doesn't sound right. I would say it's sank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will not going to say the past tense of troubleshooting. Anywho, but here it's got the subscription payment, the expenses that are tracked to it, and then the bank payout. So it's like the holistic from the sale to the bank payout and the bank reconciliation. One of the few.
By the way,
it does all.
The payout element is really important because that's what'll give you the bank map in the bank feed.
Exactly. So when you've set this up, and you can set it up for PayPal, you can set it up for Stripe, you can set it up for any of those channels there, we'll post those transactions appropriately. Now, one thing that I don't know of any other integrator, sales connector, maybe Rachel, is that in this particular case, we do subscription, right, on School of Bookkeeping, and there's an additional charge for that because it's a recurring payment, right? So like the original sale has an expense to it, but then the recurring payment has an additional expense to it.
You mean that the processor is charging you, or that you are charging the client?
No, that the processor, in this case Stripe, charges an extra half a percent when the payment is a subscription.
What? Hold on, time out. I got to add that to my notes so I can add that to my tracking sheet.
Hold on. And this is one of the few integrators that I've seen that will do that. That'll actually capture that extra charge. Now, Bookkeep does it, but they do everything through a journal entry. So
yeah, that'll all be in the consolidation. You won't be able to see that.
And I have a Stripe connector, or someone who is using solely Stripe at checkout, and they're just concerned about the general ledger. So Bookkeep was a great option for that. But they do subscriptions, and I knew about the extra charge of that. And the way that it's reconciled through Bookkeep is, if you didn't see the transaction, you wouldn't know, right? Because they pull out their extra fees, the subscription fees, on the payout side of things, not on the sales side of things. So it was an initial learning with that to make sure that it actually did reconcile, but it does, right? And they do a good job of that. But
I love Bookkeep for that, by the way.
If you're not knowing when it's going to be assessed and when it's going to be taken out, a summary journal entry like that is a little hard to unpack, and just to make sure that is actually coming through when that occurs. But here we see the specific transaction, we see the expense. You can match that with your Stripe if you have access to the Stripe account or the checkout account, whatever that happens to be, and then confirm that is indeed the case. They give you the ability to see the details over on the right side, so you can see the transaction, what it posted, open it to QuickBooks right from there, assuming that you're logged into your QuickBooks in the right company at that time. So it is a really neat application, and it's relatively in relation to the other ones that are out there. But again, you want to understand where it fits in, right? So if you're trying to solve for a payment gateway issue, this may not be your integrator of choice, simply because you may have that payment gateway might be associated with multiple sales channels, and that's just going to get things more complicated and convoluted. So speaking of complicated and convoluted, good segue into the pricing changes that were just so we want to unpack that, and we're going to unpack this, and there's a lot more. I just want to preface that there's more that we don't know than what we do know. But this article here, and I'm going to make sure that people have the ability to see that. This Firm of the Future article is going to be the source of truth with regards to pricing changes and frequently asked questions. So first thing we want to unpack is what's happening, right? So here we are in June. The end of Intuit's fiscal year is the end of July. So here we are seeing email that comes out announcing pricing increases. So what's actually happening? And they try to frame it and do that sort of thing up front, trying to give you an understanding as to why these changes are taking place. And yeah, here's all these new features, key enhancements, and blah, blah, blah. But when you get down to it, so what's changing with regards to QuickBooks Online? You're going to see monthly subscriptions increase across the board from self-employed, Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, and Advanced. Solopreneur is not mentioned in here, or QuickBooks Ledger. Those things don't show an increase here. But
those things won't have an increase, or that, I don't know. What do you think about that? Because I'm actually pretty interested in using Ledger for.
That is targeted specifically to accountants. So that is going to likely not be affected by this, especially because it was brand new and it's only accountant billed, and then the customer can't purchase QuickBooks Ledger. I imagine this is going to be spared until something else occurs.
Okay.
Everything's $5 up until Plus, which becomes $9, and then Advanced goes up $35, which, in fairness, Advanced got most of the key enhancements. So it does make a little bit more sense. That becomes the biggest increase. They don't have the annual prices here, but that's one kind of best practice, or at least ways to subvert the price increase, is switch from monthly to annual if you can. If you switch from monthly to annual before this date of August 1st, then you will be locked in at the current annual pricing at today's rates, which you actually get a couple months out of the deal when you do that. So you're pushing down the price increase until a year from now, if that's possible.
I always try to do that if I'm able to do that. It's a really big saving.
Yes. And then there's some frequently asked questions in there, and that will, the biggest question that a lot of people come up with is, I'm in a promotional period. Will this increase when I'm in a promo? People who just purchased a QuickBooks and started, and they got some kind of promotional period, the pricing stays intact for the remainder of that promotional period, whatever it happens to be. So if they purchase today and they get a year discount, it will stay at that pricing until that promotion expires, and then whatever applicable base rate would be, that's when that kicks in. So once a promotion expires, that's when the new pricing will kick in. So even if it's after August 1st, which is the day for new subscriptions and existing client build subscription, we'll start with this new pricing. That won't happen until the promotion expires, whatever that. If you're doing the accountant build, then that is September 1st. And after that, when you'll see an increase there. QuickBooks Online is getting a price increase as well. Base rates are going up $5 across the board for Core, Premium, and Elite. And the employee surcharge for Premium and Elite is going up $1. So each active employee that you have on Premium and Elite will get an increase of $1. Also, promotional pricing applies there. So if you're in a promo period, then that will be dealing with that. The big news is QuickBooks Desktop, which has seen an exponential increase over the past couple years. And likely it's on purpose to force folks to have this conversation of if cost is an issue, then look at QuickBooks Online, right? Last year, it increased from, I think it was $100 from $549 for Pro Plus and Mac Plus to $649. Now it's going from $649 to $999. And that is a single user license of Pro, right? Which is quite a shock, especially to anyone who was on 2021, who just now upgraded to the latest 2024, now having a subscription. When that renews, they're going to see quite an increase of $999 the following year.
Can I ask you a quick question though, Dan, before you go forward? Does this mean, because they're not selling any new subscriptions, so this would be like if somebody bought one in 2023 or up to July in 2024, this is the renewal of that annually, not a new one in post July 2024, but keep their yearly subscription to the previous one that they bought.
Right. Yeah. So when will this new price for desktop go into effect? Is the first question, which is those prices are changing on or after October 1st. So if they purchased prior to that date, it's whatever the cost will be at that point. After October 1st, that's when this new pricing will take into effect, which will typically be a renewal, right, for Pro Plus or Premier Plus. Which Premier Plus,
October 1st, because I thought they said as of July they're not sending.
That's my next note.
Sorry, I gotta set it with out.
It's like you're teeing me up.
Right. Maybe I just zero in on the important information.
Well, the stop sell date of new Pro Plus and Premier Plus subscriptions, which I want to mention. Premier Plus is getting a significant increase as well, going from $949 to $1399 for a single user Premier Plus subscription. That's like $350, right? No, $450. And that's just a single user license. So if they have 5 users, I don't know what the per user cost would be. In the past, it was $300, but that may change as well. I actually have a meeting right after the workshop. So if you have specific questions you want me to ask, please put them in the chat and I'll be able to pass those along and hopefully get those answered.
Oh, you're meeting with Intuit about that?
Yes. Yeah. So they heard the feedback and they've made a change, which now change on top of all of the changes is just making for more of a mess, trying to understand what the source of truth is. The stop sell date for I can't say it because there's too many P's. Pro Plus and Premier Plus was going to be July 31st. They've extended that to September 30th. So they will continue to sell. It will continue to sell Pro Plus and Premier Plus
for that
until September 30th now. And those won't be at the new pricing. That'll be at the existing pricing up until that date. So nice of them to give a little bit more extension on that. Desktop Accountant is not immune to that. So they're getting a pricing increase as well. Desktop Accountant is getting a $200 increase. ProAdvisor bundle, where you have the Desktop Premier Accountant, is getting a $200 increase as well. And if you happen to have the Enterprise bundle, that is getting a $300 increase. So enjoy that.
No worry.
This one is one of the, I think, the sneak it in with while people are still reeling from the above news. Enterprise is getting not a price increase, but a removal of discounts, which is essentially a pricing increase.
Yeah.
If you have trying to highlight that, if you have a client who is currently brought to Intuit through you as a ProAdvisor, you do get a bundle. You do get them a discount, which from 1 to 10 seats is 20% lifetime off of the MSRP. Can't dictate the actual price, but the discount is a lifetime discount. Above 11 seats, it's 12.5%. New price on additional enterprise subscriptions, which we'll talk about what that actually means. There's no discount off of the MSRP, right? So if they make a change to their subscription, they go from silver to platinum or silver to gold after this date of October 1st, will be no discount on their subscription for enterprise. If they are in a situation where they do have discount on their subscription and they make a change this date, it's considered to be a new subscription and no discount. So what are those changes? Going from silver to platinum or going from silver to gold, any flavor changes, right? Like I'm adding new parts to my subscription. That's considered to be a new subscription. And adding seats is considered to be a new subscription as well. So if they have a 5-user license of platinum and they need a 6-user license of platinum after October 1st of 2024, that is considered to be a new subscription, no discount. So it may be not cost effective for them to do that because they're going to lose their discount and have to pay an increase on their subscription. Now, if they're lowering it, that may be another story, right? So it may be, right?
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but that is still just desktop software. So again, when you're also going to have to pay for cloud hosting for if anybody else needs to remote into that desktop software.
Yes, and various other frequently asked questions. Can I renew a suspended enterprise subscription? Yes, you can. But if it's past the grace period, which is 30 days after it lapses, it's considered a new subscription, so that discount wouldn't apply. But these are the things that it would consider to be changing of your subscription that would be considered to be a new subscription. So changing the number of seats, upgrading or downgrading to a different enterprise scale.
Yeah.
Again, this is all after that date of October 1st, right? Do all this stuff in September if you want, and you still have, it's not a new subscription. All right, so desktop payroll pricing. So this is, they no longer actively sell enhanced payroll or basic payroll, but if you are on a subscription that has that, that's getting a facelift too for pricing, which is enhanced, which is what most people would have. Enhanced payroll was $550 annually. That's the base price, and $6 per active employee is going to $700 annually or $70 monthly with a $7 per employee per month charge. So significant increase for enhanced payroll customers as well. There is a legacy. There was a pricing matrix that they had for number of masks. That's also getting an increase as well. That's here. You may or may not have any clients on that. This is another one that is a lot of, again, sneaking it in there as well.
Yeah.
Enhanced payroll for accountants, which is no longer actively being sold, it is getting a tremendous increase.
And this would be for accountants that are doing payroll for their clients. Yes.
Right. Yeah, this is the 50 EIN subscription option, right? Where it allows you to do after the fact payroll. It's a function inside of QuickBooks Desktop. Go in, they're doing an outside payroll service and they just want it to match after the fact payroll is a really great way to do that because it will calculate, as the name implies, not needing, and it's very spreadsheet-esque, which allows you to just go through the employees, put in their gross pay, and it will calculate after that, as opposed to running payroll. But doing that a la carte, if you had that subscription, it was $1,400. That was the last grade cost, and $4 for the direct deposit fee, which if you paid people by paper check, this didn't exist, right? So
Right.
it was only for direct deposit. So any paycheck that was direct deposit was a $4 charge. If you paid weekly, that's $16 a month, or 4.3 weeks, figuring that out. That's now, it's doubling. It is doubling. The base charge is now going to $2,800 annually for that, just having that subscription, and the direct deposit fee is increasing as well. So you get $1 increase out of that. If you have bundled it with your ProAdvisor membership, which is getting an increase as well, and we've already discussed that. So on top of that, you get a 50% off the MSRP off of the base, right? What was $1,400 is now, after the increase of $2,800, you're getting a 50% discount off of that, which brings you back down to $1,400. So for 50 EINs, breaking that out per client, maybe not so much, but if you only have 5 clients on this, that is a huge per company cost. And you don't get around the $5 direct deposit. So you still have to pay the $5 direct deposit fee, no discount off of that. Oh, and payments is not immune to this price increase, but only desktop payments. In the past, or currently, I'll just say currently, desktop ACH charges was a flat $3 charge. So you send somebody an invoice out of QuickBooks Desktop, they paid through the bank transfer ACH. That was just a flat $3 per transaction. What is currently happening, or for new customers and existing customers, it is now changing to 1% for new customers, and existing customers are getting 1% with a cap of 15 or less per transaction. Consistent with the QuickBooks Online standard pricing.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with how the ACH works inside of QuickBooks Online, bank transfer, it's consistent with that, right? But again, if people were using QuickBooks Desktop to receive ACH payments and familiar with $3, that's not what's going to be moving forward. So going to have a 1%, and if they're existing, they have a cap of $15 per transaction, right? So what that boils down to is if all of their charges are less than $1,500, then it's going to be 1%. Only if they have a charge that's over $1,500 would it then be capped, because the threshold for that per transaction doesn't mean they have 5 transactions of $500, capping that at $15. No, all of those are 1% because they're less than the per transactional rate of $15. So that's a lot to unpack. And any questions on that, please refer to this article. They're probably addressed in there. Bear in mind that the audience who's speaking to you here is Intuit, so they're going to have the Intuit-esque or the Intuit-ease spin on it.
We heard you.
But if you have any specific questions, if you're watching this later, put them in the comments. We will try to interpret that as best we can through Intuit and answer it in general terms. Any thoughts from you, Rachel, after seeing all of these changes? Your thoughts?
I understand why they're doing it. They have goals they have to hit. This is a corporation selling software. So I'm not shocked. For me, I think what kind of just bothers me is wait a second. Is this like pretty frequently at the same time every single year? Is this usually once a year?
Yeah, we had a workshop last year was right around June.
Okay. So I mean, it seems to be expected yearly. And I think the alarming thing is that this will just continue every single year. What end, I'm not entirely sure. I then am forced to increase my pricing to cover this. And it's not necessarily a pleasant thing to have to do, but I don't think that it comes as any kind of shock or surprise, but this is a software corporation that, they have, stockholders to share to, and not to share to, but to answer to. And so they have to increase their bottom line through different divisions. And they ask questions, can we increase our subscription pricing? And I'm sure that the reason that they switched to subscription pricing was so they can build in annual price increases. And I'm sure this was decided on several years ago, because this type of thing is decided years in advance of how they're going to strategically increase costs. So I'm not shocked or surprised at it. The people that it really hurt are the smaller businesses, and then people like me that I have to then deliver the news to my clients and let them know that the price is increasing. So I don't really do wholesale billing anymore, because I prefer my clients to put in their credit card and pay for it on their own, just because of this reason. I don't want to have to constantly feel like I'm responsible to explain it to them. But then again, I still have to communicate and let them know, because then I'm the person that they usually come to and ask, even if they're being told, why is this increase? And so it's almost if I am being asked questions about Intuit's business practices and I am expected to answer the questions, then I would appreciate a little more support with the ProAdvisor program that it seems like they're supporting one. So that's my only take on it. Is I'm happy to represent Intuit in the ways that make sense, but it doesn't seem like they're supporting ProAdvisors very much anymore.
Yeah, or that kind of community, that community is just in between the client and Intuit. And my tenure there, when I worked there, the last 3 or 4 years, I felt like a professional apologized. There were things that were decisions that were made that I didn't necessarily agree with, but I had to support in that terms. And I was either a sounding board for someone to provide the feedback to the right place. And please do that. If you have feedback, there's plenty of opportunity and channels to be able to do that. And to Intuit's credit, they do respond to enough, right? When there's enough people saying, hey, July 31st is not enough time to make sure that everybody's on this that they want, they do make changes and they do respond to that feedback, but they need to respond to they got to prioritize the feedback to respond to. Just because you said this sucks doesn't mean that they're going to make a global change that affects everybody.
And also I have to tell you that, like, when I first became a ProAdvisor about 5 years ago, I was really gung-ho of all things Intuit, yay. And I'll do all the things in the accounting software. And now that I'm much more app savvy, I ran into an issue the other day with one of my clients that were doing some more advanced reporting. And I hit my class limit, and I told her, I was like, don't upgrade. I'll just pull this all out of QuickBooks and I'll crunch it in a different way, outside of QuickBooks. And I'm more inclined to do that now because I feel I don't need to upsell. You know what I mean? They don't seem to care that I'm in a position to upsell, but that's what I told my client. I said, don't worry about upgrading to advanced. We don't need that. And I know they're increasing the price anyway. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of that because I'm getting much more into advanced reporting and profitability and things like that, especially as I'm dealing more with manufacturing. And this client isn't. She's a service provider, but we still want to look at profitability by campaign and things like that. And this is stuff that if you're a little bit more savvy than just what QuickBooks can do, and you're more of a financial professional, you can just export it and deal with it elsewhere. I'm more inclined now to not leave, but pull it outside of QuickBooks and not bother and have my clients use a lower tier
level
and lower subscription level because it's not really necessary. I don't need to use all the bells and the whistles on that, and they don't want to pay the price of advanced. Now, I know how they'll answer. We see at least advanced. It's premium product, and we're looking at its positioning in the marketplace as opposed to something like a NetSuite and something like that. It's very comparable in pricing, and I get that because it is. But I'm also an Intuit, a QuickBooks focused firm, as I'm pushing those products. And if I'm only an Intuit centered firm, they're gonna focus on price increase. So now I'm feeling like my new strategy, and I can't do it right now because, as I've told you guys before, I'm getting my master's. But when I'm done, I would like to diversify in accounting softwares and use a couple, because this being an Intuit centered firm, it's really difficult to have to be that gatekeeper.
Yeah, it's putting you in a position where you're getting sandwiched between the Intuit shenanigans and the needs of your client.
Yeah.
And
Guess what else?
you're even getting, I've gotten a number of emails already asking people asking me to interpret this email
Yeah.
or this news. What do I do? And that's, again, not something that either entities really care about, right? And that's part of the challenge that the accounting community that is Intuit focused or Intuit centric is feeling that pressure.
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to be Intuit
it's
centric anymore.
I mean, and I think that's part of my curiosity of this, is that I'm looking at this and going like, all right, when is the tipping point of when I'm not Intuit focused? And like you, looking to diversify, okay, there's other players that are out there,
Yeah.
Xero, Accounting Suite, Zoho. When does it tip the scale of, okay, I've had enough of these shenanigans? Then the flip side of that coin is you have to learn something else. And then I have this mindset or philosophy of the grass is always greener where you water it. So yeah,
Listen,
okay, what else is out there? They've got some gophers in their grass too.
yeah, that's
Nobody
true, but I'll tell you, I've used different accounting softwares in the past, lots of different accounting softwares, and they're not exactly the same, but they're similar. And so what I was going to say is, for somebody like us, the connector apps that we use now, they connect to all of those accounting softwares. I see it. Like now we connect to Sage and Tech. Now we connect to Zoho Books. So I'm like, great, as long as my tools can connect into all of those things. And not only that, like I said, I've only been a ProAdvisor for 5 years. So it's not like like you or a lot of other folks that I've met in this community, they're the greatest people ever, but they've been sold to Intuit for so long that it feels wrong to sever ties. For me, I'm like, I've only been ProAdvisor for 5 years. So
yeah, I mean, I see a
a
lot of people posting about, okay, it's my time. This is my turn. It's my cue to retire.
Yeah, exactly. So for me,
Not
I'm more like,
willing.
yeah, for me, I'm more like, let me just keep it as one of the solutions I'm going to use. Now, I don't, like you just said, I don't have the time right now to learn a different one. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to take a long time to learn a different accounting software. There'll be a little bit of a learning curve and whatnot, but and I don't use Xero. A couple of people have told me that, oh, Xero is just a little different when you're doing this or that. And I'm like, okay, I need to sit down and look at it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's prohibitively complicated. It's just that I need to be able to invest the time to get on board with it and implement it and explain to new potential clients, okay, I've got this and I've got that. If they're the kind of potential client that's, I'm brand new, I've been doing this in Excel, and now I need an accounting software, I need to outsource this out to you, you pick. I want to have a couple different ones that I'm trained in and my staff is trained in, and maybe we jump to something else. And if I'm doing that, I'm sure other people are thinking that way too.
We could go on and on about this topic.
And my son is over here giving me notes now. So
time to wrap it up. We're actually going to take a break. Rachel and I are going to be at Scaling New Heights next week which I'm wondering if this timing of this news is purposeful, right? Because they're not going, Intuit's not attending the Scaling New Heights conference.
Fair
There are
enough.
accountants, no accountants at Scaling New Heights, because they don't attend conferences where they're not the only
Okay, good. Then I'll
accounting
just
software.
make that zero.
Right, because Zero will be there and Zoho will be there.
Like, we'll be there.
They don't want to be there. That may be part of the timing of all of this. Who knows? But we're gonna take a break. Next week we're gonna have a live replay, so we'll still have the workshop. It just won't be live like this. It'll be a replay of something that we've done before, and then we'll pick up with more PayPal shenanigans after that, where we'll talk about the multi-currency stuff on that side of things. And hopefully, I sent out a request to Bookkeep to talk about PayPal best practices. So hopefully they'll be joining us as well in the next coming weeks as well.
All right.
So all of that good stuff. Hopefully, let us know in the comments your concerns or questions, and we'll follow up with that. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time on the Workshop Wednesday.
And that wraps up another insightful episode of Workshop Wednesday, brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion and took away some valuable tips and strategies to enhance your bookkeeping practice. Remember, if you want to stay ahead in the world of bookkeeping and accounting, be sure to visit Schoolofbookkeeping.com. With a wide range of courses, resources, and expert guidance, you'll find everything you need to sharpen your skills and boost your career. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, please take a moment to leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. Your reviews help us reach more listeners and continue to bring you the best content every week. If you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover, reach out to us on social media or send us an email at support@schoolofbookkeeping.com. We love hearing from our listeners and are always looking for new ideas to explore. Thanks for tuning in to Workshop Wednesday. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep excelling in your bookkeeping journey. I'm Dan DeLong, and we'll see you next week.